Hello, 7 o'clock. It's time. Live Q&A. I've got some questions preordained. If you have any questions, we're starting something here because I've got some photos. People have given me photos and they've allowed me to share them. So we're starting something a little bit special here. I'm going to have some photos, some visual clues. I'm guessing this obviously won't work as well on the podcast, but don't worry if you're listening on the podcast, because I'll try and explain what the photo shows. But anyway, certainly for this bit, it's going to be very exciting, and I think you'll be impressed. So this is me, Jonathan Staiano, plastic surgeon, and I am going to be doing a question and answer session with some questions from you, answers from me. That's the way around it goes. And if you have any questions that you want me to answer straight up, just go for it, post it in the chat, and I will definitely have a go at answering it to the best of my abilities. 703 and Roxana is right in with a hello. Roxana, you get the first in prize. Thank you for that. And thank you very much for being first in. And what I am going to do now, Roxana, at this point, oh man. Oh no. Oh, I just had an awful feeling. Oh no. I've written all the questions in. Am I glitching? I've written all the questions in and I haven't saved it. Oh no. Woe is me. Oh, I was quite happy a minute ago. Can I log in onto... Oh, dear, oh dear. Dear, oh dear, oh dear. Oh, man alive. Right, it's okay. I'm a professional. Right, I'm a professional. And I'm going to rise above this and I'm just going to work with it. I'm going to work through it and no one's even going to know that something's happened here. Joyce, hello to you. Lovely to see you here this evening. I'm just going to work through this. I've loaded in my photos, but my questions. Okay, not a problem. This sets out the difference between the true pros. Okay, a true pro, you wouldn't even know that something had gone wrong. An amateur would make a big deal of it, right? But a true pro, you wouldn't even know. So that's the difference. So no big deal. So the first question that I've got, if you've got any questions, please post them here. But I have got some questions. And the first one, which was the first one? It's all right, just waiting for it to load up. It's not a big deal. Not a big deal. The first one, okay. As I say, if you do have any questions, feel free to post them. If you don't, I'll just go through the questions that I've got. First one being, how scars looking after brachioplasty? Oh, that was the photo one. Right, here we go. What's the big deal? Right, copy. Right. Paste. Okay, question number one. Is it there? How scars? So I can show pics on live chat. How are they looking? Nearly 2 weeks post-op. I run water over them in the shower. Should I be using any other products? Aqueous cream? Question mark. So what we're going to do here. Is that showing? Is that showing the question? Not a problem. Not a problem. Not flustered. It's my job. Cool under pressure. Okay? It's fine. Right, let's just throw that up there. And let's just throw that up there. What do you say about that? Okay. What do you say about that? These are the scars. There's the scars there. Okay. Can you see them? You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to throw that down. Give it a bit of that. Oh no, I'll do the other way around. Okay, so this is 2 weeks after a brachioplasty. Brachioplasty is an arm reduction. Actually, no, I wanted to show the other one first. These scars are good. These scars are good. Look at that. That's a really good scar. 2 weeks after. This is not my surgery, by the way. Full disclaimer: I didn't do this surgery. This is a patient who's had surgery elsewhere, who's asked me for an opinion on these scars. I don't think you're worried about them, but anyway, they are really good scars at 2 weeks. Now you might look at this one. I mean, I didn't do this surgery, so I don't want to make too many comments about it and think, oh, it looks a bit puckered and a bit sort of rucked up. They always look a bit like this when you first have it done, especially on something like a brachioplasty, because the surgery involves cutting skin out, and so you're left with a sort of an ellipse of skin, and you have to stitch it back. And the limbs of the lips of the ellipse of skin are longer than the resulting scar. I'm not sure if I'm making that clear, but anyway, you worry is a dog ear. The worry with a brachioplasty and a lot of sort of surgery, the worry is a dog ear. And in order to correct that dog ear, we sort of I sometimes call it pie crusting in. I think a lot of people call it pie crusting. It sounds terrible, pie crusting, but it looks rucked up like this. That's totally normal. And if you look here, and again, I'm taking credit for something. This is totally not my surgery, so don't want to take credit for this. This is a patient who's had surgery elsewhere who's asked me for opinion. But look at this lovely contour to the arm there, and no dog ear at all. No bump at the end of the scar, so that's really nice. So the scar looks a bit rucked up and a bit bumped up, but that is okay. That's better than having a dog ear, I would say. So totally normal to have it a bit rucked and bumped. 2 weeks post-op, scars are always going to look a little bit shocking. Maybe not shocking, but a little bit, rucked up and red and bumpy and bits and bobs here and there. But I think for 2 weeks, that is absolutely fine. And I would be very happy with that. And I think those scars look good. So thank you very much for letting me show you scars. And I think your scars look great. And the question was, I think I'll get the questions up here. The question was, nearly 2 weeks, I run water over in the shower. Should I be using any other products? Query aqueous cream. What I would say is, this is something you really need to talk to your doctor about what you should be doing in terms of using products like creams and things on scars, because it's a personal thing. For me, I think at 2 weeks post-op, looking at those scars, how they look, I would say fine. They're healed nicely in 2 weeks post-op. They're healed well, and I think it's actually fine to run water over them. Personally, I wouldn't be putting aqueous cream on them yet. I think they're still a bit fresh. I think there's a little bit of a scab in the middle of one of them. A little bit of scab there in the middle bit. So I would say it's a bit early for putting cream on it. If you're you're not my patient, so you better do what your surgeon says, because they're the ultimate person to talk to, because they've done the surgery and it's up to them. But in general terms, I tell people to start massaging the scar at 6 weeks personally, just to let it all heal together and knit together, because I don't want to put too much tension on it before then. But yeah, really good scars. For me, it's fine to shower and things, but wouldn't massage them yet. Anna is in the house. Buonasera, Anna. Lovely to see you here this evening, and hope you are well. So that was photo number 1. Stay tuned, because we've got another photo coming up later on in the show. So I know it's exciting. I know it is. Try and put yourself together. Now, I tell you what, I'd love. Oh, it's a crawler. It's a crawler, guys. It's a crawler. We got ourselves a crawler. I didn't really want a crawler. I wanted a title. Why do I need 4 operations to remove a tattoo on my ankle? I have got a photo. I don't think we've asked this patient to share her photo. So I'm sorry that I can't show you this photo. I think it's like a starfish, or it's a star on an ankle, and it, in real terms, it's not a very big tattoo, and I've said it'll take 4 operations to remove it. This is what we call serial excision. So when you have a tattoo that you can't remove in one go, you remove as much as you can, make it close it really tight, and then you come back 3 to 6 months later, and the skin has given. The skin is not as tight in 3 to 6 months time, so you can remove a bit more, and then 3 to 6 months later, 6 months later to do it, remove a bit more. It's called a serial excision, and it's just the location really. I always say there's two things with tattoos. One is the location, and two is the size. So the size isn't bad for this one. It's not huge. It's about that big. But the location is on the ankle, and the ankle's not got much spare skin. Number one, and number two things for the ankle as well. Two things for the tattoo removal. Two things for the ankle. Number one is the fact that it moves. The ankle moves, so the wound's under constant tension. So you've got to be a bit careful. So if you close things tight, and then someone goes and walks, it can sort of ping open. So you've got to be a bit careful when you're operating near joints. And number two is the fact that the skin on the ankle is tight. There's not a huge amount of spare skin on the ankle. It's not a great, higher up on the calf, on the thigh, there's a bit more spare skin, buttock, abdomen, bit more spare skin. Down there on the ankle, on the sort of lower part of the leg, it's just not much spare skin. So even if you a small thing, it's going to be really tight. So unfortunately, yeah, that's why. What was the question? Why do I need 4 operations? That's why you need 4 operations, because it's not much spare skin, and it's not a great place, and it's not going to be a great place for a scar, I've got to tell you. So some tattoos are favourable for excision, some aren't. This one, some it's just a total no. This one's not a total no, but it's not great. I've got to tell you what can be achieved, and if you think it all sounds like too much, then I would say, yeah, okay, well, try laser or some other kind of treatment. But that is unfortunately not a great place for a tattoo. So Amanda's in. Amanda's looking forward to look at that. That's what we need. Live booking, or maybe not live booking. Amanda, I am looking forward to you booking a consultation with me too, and that sounds very exciting. So yeah, so I'll see you soon. Got any questions? I mean, we can talk about it in the consultation, obviously, but if you want to chip in, feel free. But if you don't want to chip in, feel free to not chip in. Chip or not chip. So I normally have all the questions all set up, but you know what? I did set them all up, but I think I didn't click save, or I've done some schoolboy error because they're not here. But I'm doing this. I'm hoping that you still see me when I'm doing this, because I'm getting onto another page. But anyway, so what we got here is we got a question which says, if I have an, is this next one? Yeah. If I have an exchange of implants, it's the last thing we need the dog now, isn't it? Show. If I have an exchange of implants, does that mean I need a capsulectomy? So no, it doesn't. It's a bit, always feel a bit bad when people ask for prices and we say from. I don't like that. Am I stooping? Just stand up straight. Should I sit up straight? Sit up straight, man. Get your posture sorted out. I feel like I'm stooping. I need to mic up. No, you don't necessarily need a capsule. So yeah, I always feel bad when someone says, "What's the price?" and you say, "Oh, it's from," and they're like, "Oh, crikey, yeah, here we go, gonna get there," and they're going to tell us all why, lure me in with a low price, and then, hike it up when I get in there. Honestly, it's not it's not like that. The problem with implants and implant surgery, especially it's not like a replacement of implants, it's got to be a from price, because number one, there's different types of implants. Broadly speaking, there's pretty much two types really, I guess, silicone and polyurethane. And polyurethane are more expensive than silicone, so that's one reason why there's two prices. But the other reason, if you're having change of implants, if someone says, "Oh, I want a change of implants," is capsulectomy. Capsulectomy. So scar tissue around the implant is a capsule. Everybody's got a capsule. Everybody with implants in has got a capsule. And when you change implants, you might have to do something to that capsule. And probably the biggest thing is a total capsulectomy. Remove all of the capsule, and that's quite a big op. It's not quite you're not just taking the implants, putting a new one in, which obviously is not a massive op. You usually need to do something to the capsule, sort of to adjust the capsule to accommodate the new implant. If you're downsizing the implant, you might want to close the pocket down a bit, because you don't want the implant falling into the armpit, falling laterally. You want to keep it sort of medially, keep it where the cleavage is. And if you're upsizing implants, you might want to score the capsule to let it sort of expand and accommodate the new implant. So you might have to do something to the capsule, but you might have to do a total capsulectomy. Now, the only reason to do a total capsulectomy, so there's other things I've talked about are, if you're interested, in the words? Am I getting technical? Oh, what the heck? Should I? Anyway, if you're interested, then total capsulectomy is removing all of the capsule. Capsulotomy is scoring the capsule. Otomy means making a hole in, like laparotomy. That's not helpful to you, is it? Is there an otomy word in normal? No, there's not a normal. Tracheostomy. That's ostomy. Tracheostomy, hole in the trachea. Anyway, it is okay. Just is. Otomy is a hole. So it's just scoring the capsule is capsulotomy. And if you're downsizing your implant and you have to close the capsule down, that's capsulorrhaphy. You don't need to know this, do you? Capsulorrhaphy is sort of closing down the pocket and stitching the capsule to the capsule. That's a capsulorrhaphy. You might also do it if the inframammary fold was descended, if you've got like bottoming out and the implant's gone too low. You might do a capsulorrhaphy to repair the capsule and stitch capsule to capsule. Again, you need to often freshen it up and stuff before you stitch it together, but yeah. So you often need to do something to the capsule. If you have got a capsular contracture, so if your implants are hard, that's the question I'd ask. If you're having a change of implants and your implants are hard, you've got a hard capsule there, you're probably not going to want to leave that capsule behind when you change the implants because it'll still feel hard. When you have a capsular contracture, we say your implants go hard after 5 or 10 years. It's not strictly true. It's not your implants that are going hard. It's the capsule that's going hard. It's the scar tissue forming around your implants. When you go in there and you take the implants out, the implants are fine. The implants haven't gone hard. It's the capsule, it's the scar tissue around the implant that's gone hard, not the implant itself. So if you just put another implant in, the same hard capsule, it'll still feel hard. So that would be a bad thing to do. So if your implant feels hard, then you need a capsulectomy. And a capsulectomy is removing all of that scar tissue, and that increases your operation quite a lot. If you're just straightforward putting implants in or exchanging implants and not doing much to the capsule, you're looking at about an hour operating time, give or take. If you are doing a capsulectomy, you're looking at about 3 hours to 2.5, 3 hours. So it's quite a bit more. It's quite traumatic because you're cutting all that capsule out. It becomes a much bigger operation if you are doing a capsulectomy. So as I say, you would only really need to do that if you were had a hard implant, but it makes the operation bigger, makes the risks bigger in terms of bleeding and hematoma and things like that, and it makes the price bigger. So that's why we say from, because if you're having a capsulectomy, it's a lot more expensive. So answer to your question, if you're having change of implants, does that mean I need a capsulectomy? Not necessarily is the answer. Depends if your implants are hard. Yeah. Good. Hold on a minute. What's going on here? What's going on? What have I missed? What have I missed? Amanda's back in. Only that I'm looking for a BA, not what you're talking about today, but still always good to watch. Yeah, am I not talking about BAs today? I can talk about BAs till the cows come home, Amanda. Yeah, but no. Oh, here we go. It's a BA question. Amanda, you're still there. We've got a BA question coming in live from Laura. Laura says, I am wondering if smooth implants have the same link to cancer and are Motiva implants safe? Right. Right, Laura. Thank you for that question. So, basically, there are risks with everything. And what Laura is talking about here is ALCL. ALCL is a type of cancer associated with breast implants, and it's quite big certainly in the plastic surgery world at the moment. It's quite a big thing because a few years ago we were like, oh no, implants don't cause cancer, and it's only just come up recently in the last few years. And the first thing I would like to say, and Laura has said that small link to cancer. Yes, that small, it is a small link to cancer. It's a very rare cancer and it is treatable. So, the risks we take risks with everything that we do all the time, and we have to balance the risks. Life is all about balancing risks. Every time we get in a car and we drive somewhere, we take a risk and we balance that risk against the benefit of driving somewhere. So you have to be aware of the risks, no question, and we have to tell everybody about the risks of ALCL and cancer and what have you with implants, because they are definitely there. But then you have to weigh them against the benefits you're going to get. So the risks of getting this sort of cancer is small, but it seems to be related to the texturing of the implants, the roughness of the implants. And we used to say there are no cases with smooth implants. So we used to say, so a lot of people have gone towards smooth implants. Some countries have banned textured implants. France and Australia banned textured implants. And so you might say, oh, well, the smooth implants are good. Now, there are some cases with smooth implants now. So it's not like there are no cases with smooth implants, but there are a lot less cases with smooth implants. So your question is, have smooth implants got the same small link to cancer? No, they haven't. Smooth implants have got a much less risk of the cancer. So smooth implants are much less likely to get ALCL than textured or polyurethane or any sort of rough implants. Having said that, there are bad things with smooth implants. So capsular contracture, rippling, non-adherence. They don't come in a teardrop shape because they just move around in the pocket. Smooth implants are how they first made implants. So texturing and polyurethane coating were seen to be an advance. So there are benefits in having texturing, but there are risks in having texturing, and ALCL is the risk or one of the risks. And you have to balance that against the benefits of it. So you've got smooth implants, you've got textured implants. Now what they're bringing out they're bringing out implants that are called nano textured, and this is the Motiva and a few other companies make what they call nano texturing of implants. So what we said is, like, textured implants are good because they're rough, and the roughness of it reduces your risk of capsular contracture, increases your adherence of the tissue to the implant. So that's a good thing about texturing. But the bad thing was the ALCL. So smooth implants are bad because they don't. They got a high risk of capsular contracture. They don't adhere, but they're good because they don't have ALCL. So the company said, "Hold on a minute. Why don't we do something in between?" And that's what nano texturing is. Which there's a few, as I say, a few companies that do it. Motiva is one of them, and they are not very rough. They're still textured. They're called nano texturing, and when they call the nomenclature of smooth, when they have a criteria for calling a smooth implant smooth with how big the roughness of it is, and the nano textured implants are below the threshold for calling something a textured implant. So they are classified as a smooth implant, but if you look at them, they are a bit rough. Not as rough as a textured implant, but also not as smooth as a smooth implant. I don't know where we are. I've got to be honest with you. I don't know where we are. I mean, for me, that just seems a bit of a halfway house. I'm like, if smooth is good, then have smooth. If texture is good, to have textured. You could say nano textured is the best of both worlds. You could say it's the worst of both worlds. It's not as textured as a texture, so it's not going to be as good in terms of adherence to the tissues and capsular contracture as a macro textured implant, and it's not as smooth as a smooth implant, so it's not as good as going to be as good as in ALCL. I don't know if we've got the figures on it. I haven't seen the figures on it as to whether it's, what level of texturing is the right level of texturing. For me, I think the risk of ALCL is so small. It's going skiing for a week is twice your risk of dying than your risk of having textured implants in for life. So, if you see a headline, implants can kill, we must stop implants. It's like having a headline saying skiing can kill, we must stop skiing. We all know that you can die when you go skiing. We all know that you can die when you go in a car. But we still do it because the risk is very small and the benefit is good because we like skiing, or we like getting places faster than not going in a car. So that's where I am. So in answer to your question, yes, smooth implants are less likely to cause a cancer. And, and you say Motiva, are they safe? I mean, what does safe mean? I mean, there are risks with any surgical procedure. There's an anesthetic, there's risks of infection, there's risk of capsular contracture, needing revisions, needing changes. So all implants have got these risks, but in pure terms of the ALCL, the risk is less with the smoother implants. So smooth or nano-textured implants compared to macro-textured. Does that answer your question, Laura? Good question, and thanks for that. And Amanda, that was a BA question, so I hope that was helpful. It's going crazy here. Faye, hi. After weight loss, does my weight loss need to have totally stabilized before consultation? Weight loss 8 stone 7 pounds. Look at you, 8 stone 7 pounds. Give it up for Faye. Let's have a round of applause for Faye. 8 stone 7 pounds weight loss. What? I know weight needs to be stable to have surgery, so don't want to waste time consulting too early. Obviously, for skin removal. That is a good question there, right there, Faye. First of all, congrats. 8 stone, 7 pounds. Awesome. BMI 25. So what I normally say to people, Faye, is that we only charge for the initial consultation. So sometimes people like to have a consultation to have an idea of what's available or what could be achieved, so they can have a think about things and they can decide whether surgery is right for them. And if you are still on your journey in terms of weight loss or any other lifestyle thing that you need to get right, sometimes people come years later to have the surgery. It's not uncommon. And that's fine. You don't have to pay for the consultation, just come back years later. So it's fine to come if you're not ready for surgery, but at the same time you might say, well, there's no point because I don't want to get my hopes up or what have you. So there's no answer to it. It's totally up to you whether you come now or not, but that's one of the reasons we just charge for the initial consultation, because if you're not ready and you need to come back in 6 months or a year, you don't have to pay again. You just come back as often as you want. Certainly in terms of surgery, I think your question implies this, you do realize that ideally your weight has to be stable before surgery, because you don't want to have weight loss after surgery. I've got to say, having a weight loss of 8 stone 7 pounds with a BMI of 25, have you got much weight to lose, Faye? Because you make the point that stable. It's got to be stable. It's got to be something you're comfortable with. So you don't want to go crazy on it. You don't want to be, we have this sort of, you may know yourself in terms of weight loss and what have you, have a sort of catabolic state and an anabolic state. A catabolic state is when your body is breaking down, and that's when you're losing weight. You're taking in fewer calories than you're expending. So your body is catabolic, it's breaking down. That's why you're losing weight. And that is not a great way to be if you're having surgery. You don't want to be in a catabolic state because you've got wounds to heal and everything. So you want to be in an anabolic state, in a healthy state, sort of building up, not putting on weight, but you want to be in a healthy state. You don't really want to be losing your weight too much, Faye. But come and have your consultation at any time. And if you're not ready for surgery, you need time to lose more weight or get yourself ready, then by all means come back 6 months, a year, 2 years, whatever later. But it'd be perfectly fine to have consultation anytime. Olivia's here, everyone, so we can start the party because Olivia's here. Nice to see you, Olivia. Laura, thank you for answering my question. You're very welcome, Laura. I hope I answered it all right. I hope I didn't go on too much. Faye, thank you. Amanda, look at this. We've got love in the chat boxes. Yeah, go, Faye. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Amanda is bigging up Faye. Let's all big up Faye. Not much left. £7 max. Wow. Amanda's got a question, you see. There you go. You've got the hang of it now. How long between consultation and surgery normally? I'm looking at maybe having surgery around April. Is it too early to have a consultation? Same thing applies, Amanda. To be honest with you, if you think you're having breast implants, there's quite a lot to talk about. I've just gone on about the smooth, textured, nano-textured, polyurethane, round, teardrop, under muscle, over muscle. Goodness me, there's a lot to go over in terms of breast implants and what have you. So I always say to people, it's always good to go over things again. So again, only ever charge for the first consultation. So you can come now, or you can come in the new year if I don't know. It's totally up to you, but it'd be very reasonable to come now. And then all of a sudden, like, look, you want to have surgery in April, have a think about it. Things. Why don't we just see you back in January? Have a think where you are, and look at dates and stuff like that. But yeah, it's absolutely fine to come now. What you don't want to do is come in March. Leave it till March and say, look, I want to have surgery in April, preferably the 23rd of April. On Tuesday or whatever. The specific. And then we're like, oh, crikey, we haven't got. Whereas if you say now, or you can look at dates in April, we're probably all right looking at dates in April, but you don't want to come too soon before. So how long between consultation and surgery normally? There's what we call a cooling off period. Well, I suppose a lot of people call it a cooling off period, isn't it? It's quite common. It's not just it's not, we haven't got the patent on the term cooling off period. It's a standard term. So there is a cooling off period of 2 weeks, which is a BARP's recommendation and just a medically good thing to do for people for a big op. So there's a minimum 2 weeks, and probably at the moment, I don't know what we're booking at the moment, but maybe couple of months, I don't know, in advance. So if you were to come in January, I would say if you want to have surgery in April, I think that'd be reasonable. But yeah. Whew. Oh, now, thank you for that bit of a run. Sorry, are you seeing the light come on? Because I've got to get my questions up here because I've. So what have I done? I've done the capsulectomy one, yeah. So if I have my implants removed, will I need a lift? Is it the same as the capsulectomy? Right. So interesting. Interesting about a lift. Thing about a lift. People say, "No, do I need a lift?" Now, I guess there's two groups of people really. There's one group of people who you can look at them and say, "Look, you don't need a lift. You're going to be fine. You haven't had very big implants. You haven't had them in for that long. Your breasts are quite sort of pert already. Just removing the implant will lose the volume, but it won't particularly do much to the shape, and you'll be okay. And I wouldn't take on a lift." So there's that group of people who you would say, "Look, I don't think you need a lift." Probably not that many people, because usually if you're having your implants removed, not usually, but often you've had them in for a long time, so maybe you're a little bit older and age has had an effect on the tissues, all of your tissues, not just your breast, but things have descended a bit. The implants have undoubtedly stretched the skin, and so you will have a bit of a droop or a sag to your breast when you remove the implants. Now, no one needs a lift. And no one really wants a lift, to be honest with you. If you look at what a lift is, it's scarring around the nipple, down, and often scarring the chest wall. There's complications and what have you. Alteration in nipple sensation, problem with scarring, delayed healing. No one really wants a lift, but a lift is the best way to improve the shape of the breast. So the question is, how much does it bother you, the shape of your breast, versus the risks and complications associated with a lift? And it's always tough if you're having implants removed, because you don't know what you're going to look like. In general terms, what I often say, unless your breasts are already quite droopy and you think, crikey, this isn't going to look good when you have those implants removed, in general terms, what I would often say to people is say, look, why don't you just have the implants removed, see how you go. Your skin might recoil a bit. You might, they might tighten up a bit, especially if you're younger, if you've got good quality skin, if you don't smoke, don't have too much sun exposure, you've looked after your skin. It might be that when those implants are removed, the skin will recoil a bit, and you might be okay with the shape. And if you're not okay with the shape, you can always have a lift later on. As I say, no one needs a lift at the time. If you really think that you're not going to be happy with the shape, then it would be possible to do a lift at the time of an implant removal, but it's not essential, and it's not, you don't have to have a lift at the time of implant removal. And you could always think, you know what, I'm going to see what it's like and then do it later on. The problem with doing it later on, obviously, is 2 operations. You have to pay twice, so there's cost benefits in having it done in one operation, and also one lot of recovery in one operation. But it's always difficult to predict how it's going to look when those implants come out. You never really know. And it's the middle cases that I guess are more difficult. The people who have got pretty good quality skin and the breast hasn't drooped too much, you think you're probably going to be okay. The people with really droopy breasts already, you think you're probably going to be better off with a lift. It's the ones in the middle that's probably more of a difficult. You think it might be okay as long as you're happy losing the volume. The other thing I'd say is when you're wearing a bra, that does the same job as a lift. So if you're not that bothered about the shape of a breast, certainly the shape of the breast out of a bra, then you might not you just say, look, why don't you just get the implants out? That's cured that problem, and just accept the lack of the shape and just wear a bra and just say, look, you know what, I've got rid of the implants, that problem's gone, and I don't worry about the shape too much. But if you really think you're going to be unhappy with the shape, then a lift is the best way to address that. So it's a personal question, personal thing, and hard for me to just answer and say, yeah, you're going to need a lift, will I not? It's just really up to the person. Where are we up to? Amanda, thanks, amazing, thank you. I've read your book. See you soon. Oh, thanks, Amanda. My book there. Never accept a lift from strangers. Thanks for mentioning that, Amanda. Yeah, available in all good. It's available on Amazon and my website, everacceptaliftfromstrangers.com. Thank you for that. Get that in. That's the sort of publicity we need. Olivia, I booked a consultation on 27th. Did you hear? I did hear that you've been in touch, Olivia. I didn't know it was on the 27th. When's that? Is that this month? 10 days? Counting down, Olivia, counting down. Amanda, what are your thoughts on twilight anesthetic? Do you use it or recommend it? Amanda, you came in quietly as if like, oh, I'm not, and then smashing out of the park now. I think, Amanda, you might get the star commenter award. Not that there is one, but if there was one, you would get it, Amanda. I like twilight anesthetic, Amanda. I do like twilight anesthetic. I think it's good. Do I recommend it? I don't. To be honest, well, obviously we're talking about breast augmentation here. I don't push it on people, and my default position is general anesthetic. My default position is breast augmentation, general anesthetic. To be honest with you, I only really get into, and this is another reason to have the consultation way in advance, Amanda, because there's a lot to talk about. This is another thing to talk about, and we often put you in touch with people who've had it done. Maybe talk to someone who's had it done with a twilight anesthetic to get an idea. But it's something I don't really push. But if someone says, look, I don't fancy a general anesthetic for whatever reason, it's a good thing. And the main thing for me is the patient has to be on board with it. So that's why I don't push it on people. If people sort of request it, I'm like, yeah, it's a good thing to do. And the surgery is done in a place with general anesthetic facilities. The hospitals that we work at have all got general anesthetic facilities. So we always prepare you for a general anesthetic and say, look, if you're not enjoying it, if it's uncomfortable, I shouldn't say enjoying it. If you find it uncomfortable, I don't think you'd enjoy it. But if you find it uncomfortable and you don't, we could always convert to a general anesthetic. So we always prepare. The price is the same. A lot of people think it should be cheaper. The price is the same. To be honest with you, it's actually more work for the anaesthetist and for me. It's more. If anything, it should be more, but it's not more. It's the same. But it's not less. But it is a really good thing. It is, but you have to have the patient on board. And the reason you have to have the patient on board, because it can be a little bit uncomfortable. Sometimes you can feel a twinge here and there, and you think, oh, hold on a minute, I can feel that. It's a bit uncomfortable. Okay, don't worry, I'll put a bit more local in, maybe give you a bit more sedation. And it is a really good thing. You have less of a hangover effect. You feel better afterwards. It is not, I think some people think it is like being awake. It's local and sedation. So twilight anesthesia is a local and sedation. It's not just pure local. It's not like if you have a mole on your cheek where you can be talking while you're having it done. You are like a bit drowsy. You're not really part of it. You can't say, oh yeah, I like them, they're really good, yeah, put bigger ones in. You can't really participate. I think we did one last week, I think, and I think the patient sort of said, was that it? Has it happened, sort of thing. You're often a bit like, you're not anesthetized, but you are tired, should we say, and often sleep, lapse in and out of sleep and things. So it's but it's a really good thing, really good technique. I really like it in the right patient, and if you are up for it, then it's something we could definitely talk about. You could talk to someone who's had it done, maybe talk to the anaesthetist beforehand if you want to have a chat about it. But it's definitely something we can look at. And if you, as I say, usually if you're not sure, or if you think you want to do it, what we'll say is, look, let's just do it, see how you get on. And if you don't get on, then there's no problem. We just change to a general anesthetic, no problem at all. No sweat, but it is good. Local and sedation, high or twilight anesthetic. It is good. So, last question, guys. Last question, and we got another picture question here, which is awesome. Thanking you for allowing me to show your photos. Here we go. Crying face emoji. Lol. I have already had had face and neck lift. Went back and had a revision, and I've been left in not a good way. That's why I need someone really good to fix me. All around my earlobes have been stitched. I have stitches popping out. One keeps filling with pus. There's what I assume to be stitches in my cheek behind one ear is lumpy and very sore. Can hardly wear my glasses. First op end of August last year, revision 24th of April this year. I think last op was very carelessly done by not fixing neck, and I can feel if he stitches, is it these stitches? Maybe it's these. If the stitch is ready to pop out and bad scarring, so I would not go back to him. He was an ENT doctor. Okay, all right, and we've got some photos. Photo number 1. Oh, that's good. Oh, that's good. So, scar for a face. You can't see my mouse, can you? I need a pointer. Okay, scar from a facelift goes in front of the ear, around the earlobe, up behind the ear, and then into the hairline. So you can see here there's a little scab in front of the ear. Now, the problem with surgery, and especially sort of, would this be called body contouring, face contouring surgery? Is you're stitching it tight. That's the whole point. Facelift, you got to stitch it tight. So all these things are stitched tight. They're all under tension, and if you see it, you think, oh, already stitching it tight. And what we try and do is we try and avoid tension on the skin, and we avoid tension on the skin by putting sutures deep underneath the skin. We put dissolvable sutures deep underneath to take the tension off the skin before we stitch the skin. And so there are deep sutures underneath there, keeping the tension off the wound. Now, sometimes the body doesn't like having those deep sutures in there, especially where there's a lot of scarring. This is a difficult case. It's a revision. So there's 2 operations been done here. Revisions are always difficult. And when there's deep sutures, the body says, look, I've had enough of this. I'm going to spit you out. And you get little bits spitting out. It can happen with tummy tucks. It can happen with mastopexies. It can happen with arm reductions. It can happen with facelifts. So it can happen in any operation. These deep stitches, your body says, that's it. Come on, clear off, buddy. You're getting out. And you get what we've got here, which is a little abscess in the scar due to a foreign body. I mean, basically a stitch is a foreign body. It's not natural. They do dissolve, but they can take many months to dissolve. I think this one was April. So the last op, wasn't it? I did say that, yeah. So that's many months ago, but it can take a while. The problem is when they talk about the stitches, the manufacturers say, "Oh, these stitches take 2 months to dissolve, whatever." When they've done those studies, they're looking at the stitch, because the stitch dissolves by being in contact with the water, and there's water in your body, and the stitch, a line of stitch is continuously covered in water, and so that might take a couple of months to dissolve. But if you've got a knot, when you tie a knot, it's just the outside that the outside might dissolve in a couple of months, but the whole knot might take a lot longer than a couple of months to dissolve. So with knots, it can take a lot longer to dissolve. And with these sutures, because we're taking the tension off, and we don't want to be beholden, or we don't want to be reliant on one knot, we usually do lots of stitches with lots of knots, each one with the knots, and that can take a while for those knots to dissolve. And while they're dissolving, you get little things like this. Now, I know you've lost contact in lost faith in your surgeon, but it's always best to stick with your surgeon and try and stick with it, because you can trim knots, you can take them out. I mean, the worry about trimming the knot is, is it still keeping the tension on the wound, or it's been April, so it's been a while now. Does it need to be explored? Look for the stitch and take it out. I don't know. Or it looks quite dry, to be honest with you. I mean, it's annoying that it's been going on this long, but as a general rule, wait a minute. If it's dry and it's not if it's dry and it's not infected, and it's just looks like how this looks, I would generally personally leave things alone and let them heal on their own. If you go guddling about and try and take stitches out and stuff, it might make it heal quicker, but it can cause other problems. So I would probably generally tend to leave them, but you're obviously cheesed off, and we don't want you to be cheesed off. So my advice would be go to your surgeon if you can, if you've still got communication there, and talk to him or her about that. But yeah, so that is the front of the oops, sorry. All right, and we got this now. This is the back. This is behind the ear. Oh, look at that, brilliant. Let's get that out of the way so we see that properly. So there's a band here behind the ear, a little band here. So um, behind the ear is lumpy and very sore. Can hardly wear my glasses. I can understand that because that band there. And again, we're trying to close things tight. The whole point of facelifts and all these sort of surgery is closing it tight. And so when you close it really tight, then you're going to get a band. And this is a revision operation. She's had 2 ops. There's going to be a lot of scar tissue. That scar is banding and pulling, and really tough to fix that. How are you going to fix the band? The band is because it's so tight. How do you make it less tight with surgery? Anytime we do surgery, we create scarring. Now, having said that, there are things we can do to release scarring and to lengthen scarring. Weirdly, it creates more scarring. We do things like put Zs in it, make it into a ZE shape style. So instead of a straight line, make it a ZE. So we can lengthen scarring, but the best thing for scarring is time. And this is April. I need to say normally it's at least 6 months. Is it 6 months getting on, isn't it? 5 months, is it? April's the fourth month. We're now in the 9. Yeah, 5 months. So at least 6 months, ideally a year, to let that scarring soften and settle, massage, soften that scar. Again, should be doing this with your surgeon's sort of blessing, but get massaging, trying to help to soften that scar. And time is the best thing for scars, and I would hope that time would help that scar to soften and settle. But it is really tough when you get into revisions and revision surgery. You've already had 2 ops, you're not happy. It is difficult to it does get a little bit the old law of diminishing returns. It does get more difficult to get results with oh my, with surgery when you're doing revision surgery. So I think often you sort of want it fixed and want it all done, but often the advice is, look, I'm not saying quit while you're ahead, quit while you're behind in a way, because more surgery, more scarring, more stitches can cause more problems. So I would say it doesn't look too bad to me. I would say, look, time. The longer you leave it, the better. That little stitch abscess, I hope, would sort itself out. The webbed scar behind your ear, I hope, would soften and settle. You've got to be careful having revisions. Whenever we do revisions, we're trying to make things better. But like in this case, I don't know if she's actually saying the revision made it worse, but sometimes people say, oh, I had a revision and it's worse after a revision. We're not trying to make it worse, but it's always a risk whenever you do surgery that you can make things worse. So you've got to think about why you're doing that and if you're doing the right thing for someone. So I would say wait as long as you can. And if you can wait a year, that would be better. And if you can wait longer than a year, that'd be even better. And then if you were thinking of surgery, be very clear about what we're trying to achieve with the surgery and what the risks and the benefits are. So I'm sorry you've got these problems, and I hope that they will settle, is my view on that. And I'm hopeful that that will get better on its own. And yeah. What's going on here? Amanda, so Olivia wouldn't fancy Twilight people. You know what, Olivia? no, it's not for everybody. It is not for everybody. And that's why I say, look, it's for the specific people. And the people who ask for it, they get on really well with it because they're keen, they're motivated, they don't want a general anesthetic, as I say, for whatever reason. And it works really, really well. But yeah, absolutely not for everybody. Brilliant, Amanda. Thumbs up yourself. Olivia, my arms are hurting since I got home. Pushed the trolley at the airport. Mainly my armpits are hurting. So Olivia, I happen to know. Oh, Olivia, we did. Okay. Yes. So this is after an arm lift. So I think, yeah, they will hurt. And pushing the trolley at the airport probably is not great. And I think this is one of the things when you do go overseas. People say to me, "Well, when can you travel after surgery?" I'm like, "Oh, leave it 6 weeks and stuff." But if you're actually having the surgery abroad, you're not going to wait 6 weeks before coming home. So you have to obviously come home within that 6 weeks. So it is going to be a bit uncomfortable. And any sort of body contouring surgery, obviously, it's going to be closed tight. The problem with an arm lift is that it does. Well, I don't know if you've got one, but I often make an L up in the armpit, and that sort of L is the tightest point. That's where you really get the pull, and so you get a pull up into that armpit. So it's often the tightest point. Also, you're moving the armpit again, going back to moving a joint like the tattoo thing. Wherever you're moving a joint, the scar's under a bit more tension, which isn't great. So yeah, it's not great. Take it easy, and that's what try not to do too much. And obviously, if you have to do stuff like push a trolley, then just take it easy when you get home. But whew, that was back to back. Right. I'm out. I'm going to declare myself out of questions here. I'm out of native questions. Anyone got any questions? They are more than welcome to chip yourself in. If not, message me, email me, do whatever you want to me, and I will try and answer them as best I can. And be very happy to talk about them next week, same time, same place. And that was good. Good bit of interaction. Thank you all. Amanda Lou, you should be proud of yourself. And good luck, Olivia. Hope you can rest up when you get home. And Faye, well done on your weightlifting, on your weight loss. And I am going to go and check out and see me. Amanda, thank you for asking the questions. And good night to you. I'm going to end the book. Oh, hold on. Trying to relax, but at a lodging, my friends. Good on you, Olivia. You carry on lodging with your friends and relaxing. And Faye, thank you. Look at this. This is what we want. Good bit. And see you next week at for more of the same. Good night.